won't fill you up and never let you down.
You can attention, you can feel it. You know you got it right. 'Cause everything else is just a light. Just keep your light shining. Everything else is just a light. You got to shine on. Everything else is just a light.
Red Sox baseball is even more fun if you're part of a group. Come out to the ball game and bring your friends, family, or your co-workers. For small groups, phone 617-267-1700. And for groups of over 40, phone 617-262-1915.
The Sky Dome will be the site of the 62nd annual Major League Baseball All-Star Game on July 9th. Folks here in Toronto looking forward to that extravaganza coming to their fine city. Manuel Lee to begin the fifth for the Blue Jays against Roger Clemens. Roger has retired 8 in a row. The last Toronto batter to reach was Manuel Lee with his ground rule double down the left field line in the second. Mookie Wilson to follow, and then the top of the order and Devon White. Lee taking all the way on the first pitch, and he looked at strike one. Clemens was a winner on opening day last year when he beat Jack Morris and the Detroit Tigers. The Red Sox won that ball game 5-2. That was the first win on opening day for the Red Sox in quite a while. They had lost their previous 4 season openers. They hadn't won since 1985. Ball and 2 strikes. This is only the second time the Red Sox have opened the season against Toronto. The first time was in Toronto at Exhibition Stadium in 1983, and the Red Sox lost that ball game. Or rather, that was at Fenway in 1983. The Red Sox lost 7-1. First time the Red Sox have ever opened the season in Toronto. 2 balls and 2 strikes the count. Full count now. Lee was sharing playing time at second base with Nelson Liriano last season. Then Liriano was traded to the Minnesota Twins, and Lee became the regular second baseman. It was just about that point that his offensive performance really went downhill. He was up around 280 at the time of the trade, and he finished the season at 243. Long run for Greenwell, and he can't get to it. Still 3 balls and 2 strikes.
In a way, you go back to talking about Roger cutting down on the number of pitches. He got a little help from Manuel Lee on the first 3-2 pitch. Lee swung the ball out of the strike zone to foul it off. Now he gets another 3-2 pitch and fouls it off. This is his point where Clemens really can't do an awful lot about it. I don't think you're going to see him switch his pitch selection at this point, especially to a Lee type hitter. You mentioned 120, 130 pitches for Clemens. That's almost a normal for him. When he gets up to 145, 150 pitches, now you're getting a bit excessive for Clemens. For other pitchers, 125, 130 would be a lot. Boy, he did change selections.
Indeed he did. And Lee strikes out. Back-to-back strikeouts for Clemens. He fanned Myers to end the 4th, and that's 4 strikeouts in the ballgame for Roger.
One thing Clemens will do with this breaking ball, as well as the split-fingered fastball, he gives you the high rider pitch, which takes a hitter's attention upstairs. And once he goes to those pitches that go downstairs, it's awfully difficult for a hitter to maintain the proper eye contact and cover both those zones. It's almost impossible.
Mookie Wilson with a high chopper to Boggs, who was playing in, and Wade guns him down.
Boggs is going to take away any kind of a bunt thought that Wilson may have, and pay it off for him having a chance really to make that play on the high chopper.
Clemens has retired 10 in a row. It's the top of the order for the third time for the Blue Jays. Devon White struck out swinging in the first and bounced to short in the second.
White's obligated to hit with a strike on him here once again.
Even though Clemens had to throw
A few extra pitches to Lee, Wilson is out on one pitch. So you don't want to let Clemens get away with a 10 or less pitch inning, which could very well have happened.
Flailing swing by Devon White, and it's quickly 0-2. Red Sox lead 5-1 in the bottom of the fifth. Fastball just outside. Each team with 4 hits in this one. Big hit of the ball game, the grand slam by Jack Clark in the top of the third. Foul ball. Did you happen to see the feature on Roger Clemens on ABC's primetime?
No, I did not.
I thought the most impressive aspect of it was when they set up the border of a strike zone, drew the outline of what would be the entire strike zone, asked Roger to hit specific points in that strike zone, and every single one he hit right on the money. It was a very flattering piece about Roger, portrayed him in a very positive light.
That didn't surprise many American League hitters, I'll bet.
No. Foul ball again past first. Still 2-2 on Devon White.
It's unusual, of course, that you have a power pitcher like Clemens who can also give you the pinpoint control. The night he struck out the 20 Seattle Mariners, I don't think he threw 2 pitches all night long that were anywhere near the middle of the plate. They were all on 2 inches of the outside corner, 2 inches of the inside corner.
Struck him out. 1, 2, 3 go the Blue Jays. 2 more strikeouts in the inning for Clemens. Roger now has 5. And after 5, the Red Sox 5 and the Blue Jays 1.
This is the deadline. This is the goal. This is the plan. Through April 10th, your New England Ford dealer will do whatever it takes to offer you his best price on a new Ford Escort. Plus, you can save over $1,700 in finance charges with 3.9% financing for 48 months on the totally redesigned 1991 Ford Escort. 3.9% for 48 months could also lower your monthly payment. So remember the goal, remember the plan, but most of all, remember the deadline.
You'd better mark your calendar, because True Value hardware stores have a great tool at a great price every month in 1991. This month, it's a Master Mechanic 11-piece screwdriver set, including 5 slotted, 4 Phillips, and 2 Torx bits. In April, get the Master Mechanic 11-piece screwdriver set for just $7.99 while supplies last at participating True Value hardware stores and home centers.
At Fenway Park during Kids Week, April 17th and 18th at 105, when the Red Sox host Bo Jackson and the Kansas City Royals. First 15,000 fans aged 15 and under will receive a baseball card book, which includes a starter set of cards, complement of Leaf candies. Purchase tickets with your Visa or MasterCard, phone 267-1700, or stop by the Red Sox ticket office at Fenway Park, or the clubhouse shop at the Burlington Mall. Part of the fun during Kids Week. Order your tickets today.
Join us for our opening day coverage of Red Sox baseball. That's from Fenway Park this coming Thursday, 1 o'clock the game time. And the Red Sox will be hosting the Cleveland Indians, managed by former Red Sox manager John McNamara. That's when our next coverage will come your way over the TV 38 Red Sox network. So check your local listings for the time that the game will be on in your area.
And now Jim Acker is on the mound for the Blue Jays, replacing Dave Stieb, who started and worked the first 5. Acker on here in the 6th, with his team trailing 5-1, and he'll face the middle third of the Boston order. Jack Clark, Ellis Burks, and Tom Brunansky. Interesting that Stieb departs after the 5. He had settled into a groove, seemingly. He retired the last 7 Red Sox hitters he faced, but Jack Clark had the big hit against him. A grand slam in the 3rd. Turned a 1-1 game into a 5-1 Boston lead. Clark bounced the 3rd. His first time up. 1-1 the count on Jack.
Kind of a rough spring for Acker. He was roughed up a bit.
24 hits he gave up in 17 in the 3rd inning.
12 runs, 9 of those earned. Worked against the Red Sox in the game over in Winter Haven on a Saturday afternoon and displayed a little control problem.
Didn't seem to be throwing the ball as hard as he had thrown it in the past.
Borderline strike at the knees. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Dave Stieb worked 5 innings, allowed 5 runs, all earned on 4 hits. He walked 2, struck out 2, and hit a batter. And if this score stands, he will lose to the Red Sox in Toronto for the first time since 1983. Acker is a native of Freer, Texas. He still lives there. He's 32 years old, 6'2", 215 pounds. And he strikes out Clark.
Put these two teams
Together, you get a lot of Texans on it. Ellis Burks
from Fort Worth, Clemens, of course, who really grew up in Texas. Kelly Gruber's from Texas. Something a bit off speed, maybe almost looked like a slip pitch of some type from Acker.
Clark wailing away at it.
First strikeout for Clark in this 91 season.
Now Ellis Burks. He's 0 for 1, was hit by a pitch his last time up. A little chopper in front of the plate back in the 2nd, and the catcher Myers bounced out in front of the plate and threw him out.
I think a right-hand batter facing
Acker would have a tendency to swing at a bit at the motion.
Gives you a lot of knees and elbow kicks and flips his back around on you. You get a lot of slinging kind of arm,
which gets you a bit out in front.
and that's just about what Acker's doing to Clark. He did, and Burke so far.
And he gets the ball on the pitch on the outside corner. Back-to-back strikeouts for Acker. 2 outs in the 6th. The Red Sox lead 5-1.
A pitcher's pitch all the way here. Kind of
Starts it on the outer 3rd of the plate, and once it finishes breaking,
it's caught just a piece of that outside corner. Acker picks up his 2nd strikeout in the row. 54 strikeouts for the
right-hander last year.
91 innings.
He's outside with ball 1 to Tom Brunansky. Tom has bounced to 2nd and popped to 2nd. He has a home run in every American League park except the Sky Dome. One and one now on Brunansky. Tom was the hero of the big series with the Blue Jays in the final weekend of the regular season last year when he went 8 for 11 with 5 homers and 8 RBI, September 28th, 29th, and 30th.
And then kept the week off with the catch.
That's right.
Off the bat of Ozzie Guillen.
On the Wednesday night at Fenway, as the Red Sox wrapped up the division title. Gruber, a long throw, nicely done. The Red Sox go in order again. Toronto pitchers have now combined to retire 10 straight Red Sox hitters. after 5.5. 5-1 Red Sox.
Introducing the Bud Light IMSA Racing Team. Catch it this season.
Let's go. We're all revved up and ready to go.
How do we get the truck back?
Throw it in reverse.
Let's go.
Show the spirit. Show the pride. Bruins pride. The Boston Bruins face off with the Hartford Whalers in Game 4 of the Adams Division semifinals. Tuesday night at 7:30 on TV 38.
My mother said I was too much trouble, so she threw me out. It's pretty terrible out here. I wish I could go back home. They'd take me.
Brush up on the stats of your favorite Red Sox players. Order your 1991 Boston Red Sox media guide today. And to purchase your media guide, just mail $8. $2.50 of that is for postage and handling. Send that along with the return address to Red Sox Media Guide, 4 Yawkey Way, Boston, Massachusetts, 02215.
Roger Clemens has retired 11 Blue Jays in a row. As he gets ready to go to work in the bottom of the 6th, he is working with a 5-1 lead. Clemens has not issued a walk. He has 5 strikeouts. He's fanned 3 of the last 4 Blue Jay hitters. And for the most part, it has been a very quiet, sellout crowd here at the Sky Dome. Roberto Alomar to lead off. He's 0 for 2. He has twice bounced to second. He'll be followed by Kelly Gruber and Joe Carter. The ball high to Alomar. He's just 23 years old. He turned 23 on February 5th. And he's ahead in the count, 2 balls and no strikes. Two and 1. Roberto Alomar was an all-star in the National League last year. For the first time in his career, this is his 4th season at the major league level. He's been keeping Jody Reed busy. That's the 3rd time Jody has thrown out Roberto Alomar. 1 out in the 6th. 12 in a row set down by Roger Clemens.
I wonder what's going to happen when he's the batter and his brother's a catcher for Cleveland. I mean, do you work doubly hard to get your brother out, or you kind of help him along somewhere? Tempting, I would think.
Well, that's when we'll find out how close the brothers Alomar are.
Well, we won't. I don't know if we'll be around anytime when it'll ever happen, but check the box scores.
Kelly Gruber 1 for 2 with an infield single back in the 1st.
Must have been something. Brothers on an all-star team last year. One of them as a rookie. Quite a baseball family. Sandy Alomar, of course, the father I played against a number of years ago.
Nerry throws him out. 13 in a row for Clemens.
I really think Boston fans are going to quickly fall in love with Tim Nerry and his play at shortstop. He's a very steady, tight player. He's been called and compared to Butch Hobson a couple of articles in the Boston papers over the weekend, and he reminds me of Hobson. I said it long before those articles came out. His actions are a lot like Hobson's. I don't know if he's going to have the home run power that Hobson has, but I feel Nerry can hit 12 to 15 home runs on a good year without much of a trouble. And he's going to make all the standard plays for you, and he will display a strong throwing arm.
Breaking ball missed a little bit low and away to Joe Carter. He has singled to right and flied to center. We're in the 6th. The Red Sox lead 5-1. The hits even at 4 apiece. Borderline pitch called a strike. Let's say the replacement umpires, the guys at the bases, haven't really had any close calls to make, but home plate umpire John Higgins has done a very nice job.
Certainly has. A bit of all right. Spoke with Joe Carter by the batting cage during the Toronto pregame batting practice. He saw me and he says, "Look out, I'm coming back to Boston."
He has had 2 games of 3 home runs at Fenway Park. The only player in history to hit 3 home runs in a game twice at Fenway.
He was amazed at being back in this league so quickly after San Diego
would spend all that money on him, and in 1 year they turn around and trade him right away. Found it hard to believe
that he thought it was bad business.
He did say, though, which I found a bit surprising, that he liked the brand of play in the National League more than in the American League, and he didn't have one of his better years over there last year.
Pulls it into the glove of Boggs. Blue Jays go in order again in the 6th. After 6, the Red Sox 5 and the Blue Jays 1.
Come in, Condor. 1, 2, testing.
The green monkey walks alone in the sky.
That's your signal. 2 caffeine-free diet Pepsis.
Sorry, we've just run out.
Order something else. But I don't want anything else. Just follow orders. Look, I want great taste, but I don't want caffeine. Sir. I want a caffeine-free diet Pepsi. Listen. No, you listen. They do not all taste the same. I want caffeine-free. Amateurs.
You got the right one, baby.
If it's out there, it's in here. The 9X Yellow Pages. Why would anyone need another?
It's the early 1940s. Johnny Pesky joins the Boston Red Sox, and Joseph Bertolami opens the J.B. Sash and Door Company. Today, J.B. Sash and Door Company has a 47,000 square foot window design and manufacturing facility in Chelsea.
Hi, I'm Sal Bertolami.
And I'm Johnny Pesky. We're the Window Boys.
We specialize in selling and installing energy-efficient windows, doors, and accessories.
So come on in for a free tour.
884-8940. We're the Window Boys.
Back at the Sky Dome in Toronto and ready to move along to the 7th inning. The Red Sox lead 5-1. Toronto scored first in this game, a single run in the 2nd. A sacrifice fly by Mookie Wilson scored Rance Mullinick. The Red Sox got all 5 of their runs in the top of the 3rd. An RBI base hit by Mike Greenwell. Scored Tony Pena, who started the inning with a double with the first Boston run. And Jack Clark hit a grand slam to make it 5-1. That's where we've been ever since.
These umpires are right on the ball. They give us our full allotted time in between innings so we can get all of our stuff in.
They do a better job than the regular umpires
during the season
category. You're absolutely right.
That's the reason for the little pause there.
And had I known they were going to be so accommodating, I would have done the True Value Hardware Store scoreboard as scheduled. We'll get to that after Carlos Quintana bats. Carlos has hit the ball sharply twice today with nothing to show for it. He is lined to right and lined to short. Bottom 3rd of the order against Jim Acker, who's pitched 1 perfect inning of relief. Acker's had an interesting career. Started out in the Atlanta Braves organization. Never did reach the majors in his first go-round with Atlanta. Was traded to Toronto in 1983. Actually drafted by Toronto away from Atlanta in the Major League draft. No swing. Said first base umpire Fred Spann. Acker was with the Blue Jays 83 through 86, then was traded back to Atlanta for pitcher Joe Johnson. And he returned to Toronto in 1989. Kelly Gruber throws out Quintana. Now we'll look at the True Value Hardware Store scoreboard. In the American League, Detroit has battled back to tie up the Yankees. They're at 4-4 after 6 in Detroit. Kansas City has come from behind to take a 3-2 lead over Cleveland, bottom of the 4th at Royal Stadium. Chicago leads Baltimore 5-1 in the bottom of the 6th at Baltimore, Milwaukee, and Texas tonight. In the National League, Cincinnati now leads Houston 6-1 after 5 innings in Cincinnati. New York leads Philadelphia 1-0 after 2 at Shea Stadium. Montreal and Pittsburgh tonight. And that's the first edition of the True Value Hardware Store scoreboard for 1991. Here's Tony Pena. He doubled and scored the first Red Sox run of the game in the 3rd. He flied deep to center in the 4th. It'll be a close play. Alderwood and Myers can't get it. It's in the first row of the seats. Tony led all major league catchers last year in games caught at 142. And if he has his way, it'll be that many or more this year.
I was kidding him this morning about if he was going to play today, since he wasn't in the lineup yesterday afternoon. I said, "Are you kidding? I play every day." And he would too. It's a very difficult time. He doesn't know what to do with himself when he's not playing. Spring training games, I mean, he's a wreck. He's all over the place. Oh, throw the ball when that happens. So much pressure is put on a pitcher's arm when they do that. He would be better off if Acker just took it and threw it up against the screen, anything, rather than holding on to that ball. That arm is in such speed, and all of a sudden you decelerate it. Ooh. The ball looked like it slipped out of there, didn't it?
Indeed it did. And Acker is a guy who's had arm problems in the past on a number of occasions.
That ball just came out way before Acker was ready.
Now low and away to get Tony. Acker's mowing them down. He's retired all 5 Red Sox he has faced, including 3 strikeouts.
It's kind of a funny looking pitch from Acker. Both of them, the one up and in and over the head of Pena, and then the strikeout pitch had some funny movement to it.
Check the ball. Here's Tim Nerry. Tim has sacrificed and flied to center. Of course, by now most Red Sox fans know the story of Tim Nerry. He struggled when he was called up last year, bothered by a back problem caused by the fact that his right leg is about an inch shorter than his left leg. He now has a lift in his shoe to help him combat that problem. He feels much better. He had a very steady spring.
He made a very good point today in the clubhouse. I was talking to him about the shoe. He said he felt that it was just as important, if not more important, to have his street shoe built up. He said, I actually spent more time on my street shoes than I do my baseball shoes. And he complained a little bit about having the right shoe built up with that extra piece on it because of the weight of the shoe. They are trying to work on some way to not only get it built up, but keep it somewhere within a comfortable weight range for him.
That was just inside. 2-2 on Tim.
But he's agreeing to put up with almost anything now because of the great deal of comfort he's enjoying over what he's gone through in the past with that back being such a problem. It took him a long time to discover exactly what was causing all the problems with his back. First rookie shortstop to start a season for the Red Sox since Rico Petrocelli in 1965. I believe I'm correct.
You are indeed. This is Tim's first ever appearance of the Sky Dome.
You're a great manager.
Boy, is it quiet in here. 3 balls and 2 strikes. About 50,000 in here, but they are not making much noise. As the Red Sox jumped ahead on the Clark grand slam in the 3rd, and they've remained ahead at 5-1. A well-hit ball down to Gruber. Nering's out, as are the Red Sox in order again in the 7th. Toronto pitchers have now retired 13 in a row. 7th inning stretch at the Sky Dome with the Red Sox leading 5-1.
Times have changed. So have cars. Fortunately, Citgo has developed this new gasoline with HTA 1000 super detergent. It actually keeps today's cars running like new. So to take care of your car, fill it up with Citgo.
For a limited time, you can receive $10 worth of coupons on your next 3 fill-ups with an approved Citgo Plus credit card application. Take one and get 10 at Citgo.
You watch TV 38 Sports, now you can wear it with Watch and Wear from TV 38. Here's a heather gray t-shirt with a red, blue, and gold TV 38 Sports logo. It's 100% pre-shrunk cotton for just $9.95. Try on a Super Pro 12-ounce sweatshirt for size. It's white Pro Weight fleece with a red, green, and gray TV 38 Sports logo. A great fit for $29.99. This cap is black corduroy with an adjustable strap, embroidered with a red, green, and purple TV 38 Sports logo. Yours for $10.95. Call toll-free 1-800-543-3800. Use your MasterCard or Visa. Call toll-free 1-800-543-3800 or send a check or money order to Prestige, P.O. Box 500, Boston, Mass. 02135. Add $5 for shipping and handling for up to 3 items. Add 75 cents for each additional item over 3. No COD orders, please.
This Red Sox game summary is brought to you by your local Midas muffler brake and alignment shops. Big blow in this ball game. The grand slam home run in the 3rd inning by Jack Clark. It broke a 1-1 tie and gave the Red Sox the 5-1 lead they still enjoy. Jack Clark's first home run as a member of the Red Sox and his 8th career grand slam. And Roger Clemens has been outstanding, particularly lately. After a bit of a shaky start, he now has 5 strikeouts through 6 innings. He has retired 14 in a row as he gets ready to go to work in the 7th. That is today's Midas Muffler Brake and Alignment Shop Red Sox game summary. Clemens gave up 2 hits in each of the first 2 innings. He was touched up for a run in the 2nd. So the Blue Jays have not had a base runner since the 2nd. And again, Clemens' control has been outstanding. He has not issued a walk.
Only 1-3-2 count I have him marked down for Sean so far in this ballgame. And I do not think he's had another 3-ball count of any kind.
John Alderwood, the first hitter of the Toronto 7th, takes a strike. He is 0 for 2. He struck out swinging to end the 1st. He stranded 2 base runners. And he bounced to Quintana with Clemens covering in the 4th. Rance Mullenix and Greg Myers scheduled to follow. The hits are even at 4 apiece. The last hit in this game was the grand slam by Jack Clark. Clemens has retired 14 in a row, and the Toronto pitchers Stieb and Acker have combined to retire the last 13 Red Sox hitters.
Spoke earlier that 3 out of 4 series that the Red Sox took from the Blue Jays here last year. That was one of the best 4-game series I had seen in baseball in a long time. Clemens' effort on Saturday afternoon was just unbelievable. A 1-0 shutout over the Blue Jays, when in the 9th inning, if you remember the close-up shots that we were getting on the monitors, we weren't working but watching. It was like every pitch was, this is the pitch, and that's just the way he worked for 9 innings. Worked a bit like that on occasion here today. Red Sox shutting out the Blue Jays 3 games in a row in that series, with only a total of 4 runs being scored. Beat them 2-0 and then 2 1-0 games. Harris, Kicker, and Clemens picking up the wins. Three balls and 2 strikes. The count on John Alderwood.
Clemens has fared well throughout his career against the Toronto Blue Jays. He is 9-4 lifetime against this team. He was 3-0 against them last year. Quintana will play it himself. 1 out in the 7th, 15 in a row. Retired by Clemens. The Red Sox lead 5-1. At Baltimore, the White Sox have opened up an 8-1 lead over the Baltimore Orioles. They're in the top of the 6th inning. Now Rance Mulliniks, 35-year-old veteran, singled to left field and scored the only Toronto run in the 2nd. He bounced to first in the 4th.
Might be a good idea that Clemens stops trying to strike out so many people and become more of a contact pitcher. He's never going to catch Nolan Ryan. He got over 5,000. Clemens pitch another 20 years, he probably wouldn't catch him. He already holds the Red Sox all-time list for strikeouts.
Mulliniks, as you would expect, the man to break up Clemens' string. He has constantly been a thorn in the side of the Red Sox, and he's 2 for 3 this afternoon.
It's amazing, isn't it? Just something there that when Mulliniks plays the Red Sox, he is just going to have good ball games. Rarely do you see him wag that timber back to the bench with him when he's facing Red Sox pitching. Second hit for him in this ball game, both of them well hit.
And the first hit for either team since the grand slam by Clark in the top of the 3rd. 5-1 Red Sox. The Blue Jays are now hitting the Red Sox 5-4, and the batter is Greg Myers. The Toronto catcher has flied to left and struck out. Today is the 96th start of his career for Greg Myers, and he has never started a ball game against a left-handed pitcher. Quintana is playing behind Mulliniks. 1-1 on Myers.
I think Clemens can look forward to, if he goes into more of that ground ball pitching type mode with his breaking balls and split-fingered fastball, save himself some pitches, of course, with the ground ball double plays. He'd love one right here. And there's about an 87-mile-an-hour split-fingered fastball. I mean, that is just unbelievable that he throws it that hard and yet still gets that kind of movement on it. All the scouts were buzzing about it on that particular day in spring training when he was clocked at 86, 87, 88 with the split. You take the old thing, you don't get guys out with velocity, so you throw the radar gun out, but in this instance you get velocity and movement, and the movement, of course, is by far the most important of the two. But when he puts two together, I mean, now you really got something.
2-2 pitch, struck him out. Myers down on strikes for the 2nd time. 6 strikeouts now for Roger, and 2 outs in the 7th with the Red Sox leading 5-1.
Roger may also benefit from early parts of ball games by saving a few of those pitches. But when he gets into the 7th and 8th inning of ball games, when he needs to get back and retire a guy on strikes, not this particular situation, of course, but maybe a guy in scoring position less than the 2 outs, you need to ring a guy up with a strikeout. He'll have a little reserve to go to.
Manuel Lee doubled down the left field line in the 2nd. He struck out swinging in the 5th. That was a borderline pitch at best. Roger, the beneficiary of the close call, and strike 1 on Manuel Lee. Mulliniks at first with 2 outs. Check swing at the fastball that was high. 1-1. Base hit, center field. Mulliniks to 2nd. 2 for 3 is Manuel Lee.
be a bit pleasing for Manuel Lee, especially on an opening day, and especially against a Clemens caliber of pitcher, that you wound up with a couple of
base hits in this particular game.
As you mentioned last year, once Lee started to play a lot is when his average started to take a dive, winding up with a 243
mark on the year. But you don't really look for a middle
infielder to hit much higher than the 245 to 250 range if he gives you the good job with the glove, and Lee certainly does that. He led all American League
second baseman last year with the highest
percentage in fielding.
There seems to be some sort of problem out around second base. Jody Reed chatting with a couple of the umpires, and you can see that there is a hole right where the artificial turf meets the dirt. They'll want the ground crew to come fill that in.
Neither club had too many people around the second base bag, so it's not hard to understand why it would have taken this long to find it.
Meanwhile, the Blue Jays' new third base coach Rich Hacker was talking with home plate umpire John Higgins. And here comes the ground crew to try to fill in the hole. Manuel Lee certainly has to know that he is under intense scrutiny here in Toronto. There are many people who follow the Blue Jays who are just waiting for him to fail so that the Blue Jays will have to make a move at shortstop. There was some talk this spring about Toronto making an attempt to acquire Ozzie Smith, and the Blue Jays have Eddie Zosky, who will start the season in the minors, waiting in the wings. He is a highly touted young shortstop, and most people who follow the Blue Jays closely believe it's just a matter of time before he is the everyday shortstop for the Blue Jays for a long time to come. If you snuck out of work a little bit early but weren't with us earlier in the ball game, this is the big blow of the game that you might have missed. Jack Clark, with the bases loaded in the top of the third in a 1-1 game, hit a tremendous shot, a line drive that got into the second deck and left in no time. Clark's first home run as a member of the Red Sox, his 8th career grand slam. That made it 5-1, and we've had a pitcher's duel ever since.
We were in Boston, and I would ask John Wilson, our producer director, to put the speed shot on that for us. We don't have the capabilities of doing that when we're away from Fenway Park, working without
our own trailer, but that would be worth a speed shot
there to figure out exactly how long it took that baseball to get off Clark's bat and into that second row or second deck of seats.
Hey, they better be careful where they drive that cart. That cart may get lost
in that size of that hole I saw out there.
Looks like a pothole you might see along the central artery.
We've got plenty of room here, though. One of the beautiful broadcast areas.
Yes, we do. We can spread out and have a touch football game in here. It's our pal Jerry Remy. Be sure to tune in during the commercials of the Bruins game tomorrow night to Nesson and watch game 2 of this series between the Red Sox and the Blue Jays. Ned and Jerry should certainly be in midseason form. They worked a number of exhibition games. I believe 15. Jerry's going to get back to the hotel and take a nap now to make sure he's ready for tomorrow.
And you know what happens is so often when you're working spring training games, you do a lot of National League games. You spend a lot of time in the back
of press guides. You're not up in the middle of it, up in the front
where the real everyday players are. You just
have to find out who number 61 is.
That's right. And he's usually on page number
161, too, where you find him.
Clemens doing some light throwing as the ground crew fills in the hole near second base. This game was breezing right along.
Jody Reed could have gotten lost in that hole. We never would have known it.
Okay, guys, that's enough. Let's go.
Now Joe Morgan out to chat with Roger Clemens. The tying run will be in the on-deck circle when play resumes. Mookie Wilson is the scheduled hitter. With runners at first and second and 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th, the Red Sox lead 5-1. Toronto now has 6 hits. They had 2 in the first, 2 hits in the second, and then not a hit until this inning. They have 2 singles here in the 7th. That's Devon White sharing the on-deck circle with Mookie Wilson.
You saw a shot. I saw a shot just a moment ago of another monitor here in the ballpark that showed the Red Sox bullpen, and we cannot see in the Red Sox bullpen here, but it showed Jeff Gray throwing in the Red Sox bullpen. Jeff Reardon, who did not work the last, 4
or 5 games during spring training because of
somewhat of a tender back, is available, just not to a point where you'd see Reardon.
Play set to resume. Mookie Wilson at the plate, 0 for 1 with a sacrifice fly, and he has bounced to third. He takes a strike on the inside part of the plate, just above the knees.
Talk about how quickly Wilson became a fan favorite here in Toronto. Blue Jays played an exhibition game at Shea Stadium against the Mets on Saturday.
Lined and caught by Nerry.
And he was greeted with a standing ovation when he came up to pinch hit. Still loved even over the National League.
Blue Jays strand 2 in the 7th. They've now left 5 men on base, and after 7 it's still the Red Sox 5 and Toronto 1.
Budweiser cordially invites you to a party at Trump Plaza. Dress is casual. Punch will be served. And there will be plenty of Budweiser on hand. Budweiser presents Holyfield versus Foreman, April 19th at Trump Plaza.
Let's party.
The Undisputed Heavyweight Championship, brought to you by the Undisputed King of Beers.
Through 7 innings, the Red Sox have 5 runs on just 4 hits. The Toronto Blue Jays 1 run on 6 hits. Red Sox have left only 1 man on base through 7 innings, while the Blue Jays have stranded 5. It's been an error-free game. And Cito Gaston has gone back to his bullpen for the 3rd Blue Jay pitcher of the afternoon, and the only lefty in the bullpen for Toronto, 25-year-old left-hander Al Leiter.
One thing Leiter cannot do any better than Acker did. Acker faced 6 Red Sox batters and shut them all down in his 2 innings of work. Al Leiter, the man you may remember, had the blister problem all the time. He kept throwing in minor league baseball. As I said, the stitches were too high and he kept getting blisters and couldn't really work. He's had parts of seasons
in the big leagues with the New York Yankees and now with the Toronto Blue Jays.
Last year in 4 appearances with Toronto. He can strike some people out. But he will also do a lot of that. He'll throw it outside the strike zone. His walks and strikeouts about an even match.
And he's facing the top of the Boston order in the 8th. Red Sox lead 5-1. Wade Boggs ahead in the count 2-0. They said throughout this spring, Leiter also struggled with his control. Almost always working behind the count. Boggs a single and a walk. He's 1 for 2. He's also bounced to second. He scored on the Clark grand slam to third. True to form, Leiter has fallen behind 3-0. He walked 10 in 17 innings of work this spring. And he walks Boggs on 4 pitches. Jim Acker 2 perfect innings. He struck out 3 and he got the other 3 outs on ground balls to third. That is the first base runner for the Red Sox since Ellis Burks was hit by a pitch in the 3rd. Acker and Stieb had combined to retire 13 Boston batters in a row. Jody Reed is 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts. He walked and scored back in the 3rd. For all of his plate appearances today against Dave Stieb. Jody showing bunt and took a ball.
This is where Joe Morgan has a real luxury now.
You've shown the bunt one time, and here's a guy who's having a little trouble getting it over the plate. Now all of a sudden you can switch. Leiter says, gee, I got to get something in there. So you take a little off, and now Jody Reed gets a cookie to whittle on. Maybe look for a gapper and
watch Reed and Boggs run.
Jody squared again. This time got a strike. Red Sox already lead by 4. They have the top of the order up against the pitcher who's struggling. You wonder why they seem determined to bunt.
And a left-hander on deck.
But that's what they do. And Leiter throws him out. It's a sacrifice, 1-4.
You always like to have that 5-run lead. Obviously, with a 5-run lead, the tying run can never come to the plate. And it's one thing you'd look for. However, Joe Morgan played for 1 run much earlier in this ball game and wound up with a 5-run inning. Could it happen 2 times in the same game? Not likely.
I understand what you're saying, and there's no way to argue with that. Certainly, they can't hit a 5-run home run, but already ahead by 4 with Clemens cruising, with the top of the order up there against a pitcher who just barely made the staff and has struggled throughout with his control.
I don't like the
Mr.
bunt.
Reed swing the bat.
Oh, absolutely. Put it in play. See how hard you can hit it.
Greenwell chops it foul past first. Mike is 1 for 3 today. Here's one hit, an RBI single to right in the 3rd. That drove in the first run of the season for the Red Sox. Then Jack Clark followed with the grand slam. Acker is a native, rather Leiter is a native of New Jersey, from Toms River, New Jersey. That's out of play, third base side. Al was traded by the Yankees to Toronto April 30th of 1989 for Jesse Barfield. In a trade that hasn't done much, at least yet, for Toronto. Monty mentioned Leiter was only in 4 games last year for the Blue Jays. Pitched in 1 game for them in 1989. He gets Greenwell on the strikeout for the second out of the 8th. The Red Sox lead 5-1.
Everything's still about standard for Leiter, base on balls and a strikeout here in this inning. And I mentioned those numbers stay about there. Greenwell wanted to get to the outside part of this plate all the time, having the inside part of the plate in the back of his mind. Consequently, you got that bit of a protective kind of swing at the left-hander. By bunting Jody Reed, you just about dead gave up the out, which really I don't think was necessary to give up with the 4-run lead at this point in the ball game.
Jack Clark 1 for 3 with the grand slam in the 3rd. He's also bounced 3rd, and he struck out against Acker his last time up in the 6th. Leiter misses outside. 2-0. Kansas City still leads Cleveland 4-2 in the top of the 6th at Royal Stadium. And Detroit has taken a 6-4 lead over the Yankees. They're in the top of the 8th at Tiger Stadium. Clark looked at it all the way on 3-0. It's 3-1.
Former Battery mate of mine, Galen Cisco, right here in Toronto, as a matter of fact. We both were Maple Leafs at that time, back in 1967. Well,
did you skate your wing?
Did I what?
Skate your wing?
Skate
for the Maple Leafs?
Yeah, skate.
There's ball 4. Jack Clark, the first of probably 100 or so walks he will draw this year.
105, 106, somewhere along in there. Galen, one of those pitchers that really knew how to finish a game off and could really give you a lot of different looks. He's also famous, of course, for his Rose Bowl prowess. Very good running back for the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Under Woody Hayes, he was the captain of the Ohio State team that beat Oregon in the 1958 Rose Bowl. Ellis Burks looked at strike 1. Ellis is 0 for 2. He was hit by a pitch by Dave Stieb in the 3rd. Red Sox batting with a 5-1 lead in the top of the 8th. 2 walks in the inning. Boggs the runner at second and Clark at first. Fouled out of play, first base side. Chicago leads Baltimore 8-1 in the bottom of the 7th at Baltimore. Over the National League, Cincinnati has a 6-1 lead over Houston. That game is being held up by rain in the 6th inning.
I was thinking about that today when it was thundering and the lightning and all the rain. Just a carryover from spring training. It seemed like we played in rain almost every other day or every weekend for sure in Florida.
Burks down the line, past the dive of Gruber and into the corner. Boggs around to score. Clark will try for third, and he'll get there, and Burks pulls into second. A double for Ellis Burks, and the Red Sox lead is now 6-1.
Well, you've got the 5-run lead now. The tying run can never come to the plate as long as you hold that. And Ellis Burks seems to get up to a pitch that's a bit out of the strike zone. Gets on top of it, gets it just over the glove of the diving Gruber. Here comes Boggs to score from second. And the Red Sox lead by a handful.
First RBI of the year for Burks. Cito Gaston on his way to the mound. The Mets lead Philadelphia 2-0 after 4 innings at Shea Stadium. Montreal and Pittsburgh the only night game in the National League. There will be a pitching change here in Toronto with the Red Sox leading 6-1.
Baseball isn't always easy or painless or pretty. But with 2 boxes of Kellogg's Frosted Flakes or Kellogg's Raisin Bran, baseball's free. Just clip the vouchers from the box, redeem them for a ticket, and you're in the game. Choose from any of these exciting dates. See package for more details. So don't drop the ball. Catch a free game. But hurry, this offer's going. Kellogg's Frosted Flakes and Kellogg's Raisin Bran, your ticket to the game.
I just traded in that great deal I got 4 years ago. Now I know who paid for the big rebate and the low interest rate. Live and learn. That's why I drive a Toyota now. And Camry's the most trouble-free new car in its class, with an option package that saved me real money today and value that's going to save me real money tomorrow. Live and learn.
See your New England Toyota dealer today for Toyota value. It's the best deal going.
When you're looking for a one-of-a-kind taste under 300 calories, there's this. Or this. McDonald's new grilled chicken breast sandwich. A chicken breast fillet, marinated then grilled to perfection. Ripe tomato, crisp lettuce, and your choice of a barbecue sauce, honey mustard, or light mayo, all on a wheat bun. So if you're looking for a one-of-a-kind taste under 300 calories, there's this. Or this. McDonald's new grilled chicken breast sandwich. For a limited time.
Today's game is brought to you in part by McDonald's for good food and good value. And by Diet Pepsi. The right one, baby.
Mike Timlin will be the 4th pitcher used by the Blue Jays this afternoon. This young man started his professional career in 1987 and before last year had never pitched higher than A ball. So in 1990 he goes from A up to AA, and in 91 finds himself pitching in the big leagues for the Blue Jays.
He is from Midland, Texas.
Another Texas connection here with Toronto. He's 6'4", 205 pounds. He worked strictly as a reliever all of last year, winning 7, losing 2 at Dunedin, saving 22 for the Dunedin Blue Jays. Then was a losing record at Knoxville in the AA leagues. Quite a jump for this young man, virtually from A ball to the big leagues in 1 year.
He was one of the biggest surprises of the spring for the Blue Jays. He's on with runners at second and third, with the Red Sox leading 6-1 in the 8th, and the batter is Tom Bernansky. He's 0 for 3 today, and he took ball 1 low. Bernansky has bounced to second, popped to second, and grounded to third. Inside corner, and strike 1. The runner at third is Jack Clark, and aboard at second following a double, Ellis Burks. '25-year-old Mike Timlin breaking ball, check swing by Bernansky. It was not a swing, said Fred Spen. I say bring these umps back tomorrow. That's inside. 3-1, and Carlos Quintana waits on deck.
Do you have any of the decided upon or agreed upon deal between the umpires
and
baseball? Was that handed down at all?
No, there really wasn't. arrangement was made this morning. There's ball 4 low and away. That loads the bases. 3 walks in the inning. 2 by Leiter, now 1 by Timlin.
Suppose there was only
salary was the last
like
remaining issue.
$30,000 difference per team, the way I understand it. One report I read in one of the Toronto papers this morning.
Under the previous 4-year contract that had expired between the umpires in Major League Baseball, the umpires' salaries ranged from $41,000 a year to $105,000. Quintana with the bases loaded takes a strike. Carlos 0 for 3 today. The last offer that was reported in the press to the umpires by Major League Baseball would have raised the minimum umpire salary to $57,500 and the maximum to $155,000.
They probably found some middle ground in that, I would expect. They did add one more man, I think, to the crew. They have now 5-man crews, which will allow more off time for each guy in there. You're not going to see 5 guys on a crew on the field at one time. It's just going to be a rotating basis where the guy will have one of the 4 previous umpires will have more time off. How they're going to work that and decide what more time off is, I don't know. Got all winter off just like a player. What's the big deal?
The Q in the hole 0-2. Of course,
they don't have a home to go to in the summertime.
The players at least have a home where they go half the time during the year. The umpires are constantly out on the road. Still no balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs and the bases loaded. 1 run in here in the 8th. The Red Sox lead 6-1. And the count now 1 ball and 2 strikes on the cue. Slap down to first to Alderwood. The Red Sox get 1 and leave the bases loaded in the 8th. After 7.5 at Skydome in Toronto, 6-1 Red Sox.
This is the deadline. This is the goal. This is the plan. Through April 10th, your New England Ford dealer will do whatever it takes to offer you his best price on a new Ford Escort. Plus, you can save over $1,700 in finance charges with 3.9% financing for 48 months on the totally redesigned 1991 Ford Escort. 3.9% for 48 months could also lower your monthly payment. So remember the goal, remember the plan, but most of all, remember the deadline.
Same as it ever was. Same as it ever was. Same as it ever was.
What a moment for the Bruins and their fans.
Man, there's nothing like this.
Same as it ever was. Same as it ever was.
Today's game is brought to you in part by the 9X Yellow Pages. If it's out there, it's in here. And by Budweiser, the king of beers. Remember, know when to say when. Back at the Skydome, and we're heading for the bottom of the 8th inning. The Red Sox trailed 1-0 after 2, but they scored 5 times in the 3rd. Highlighted by a grand slam from Jack Clark, and that has been more than enough for Roger Clemens. Red Sox added 1 in the top of the 8th inning. Clemens working with a 6-1 lead. Roger has allowed 6 hits through 7 innings and 1 earned run. He has not issued a walk. He has recorded 6 strikeouts. The attendance here today, 50,114. That is the second largest crowd ever here at the Sky Dome. 50,114. Top of the order for the Blue Jays, Devon White, 0 for 3. He has struck out twice and grounded to short. Roberto Alomar and Kelly Gruber scheduled to follow. That's been a familiar looking swing today for White against Clemens.
I don't think Roger's broken a sweat against Devon White yet.
Wade Boggs in front of the bag at third. The ball low, 1-1. Tough play for Quintana. Nicely done with the backhand to Clemens for the first out of the Toronto eighth.
Carlos led all first basemen last year with assists in the American League, 137 of them. And this is the whole part of this. Never mind the assist. The tough play is handling that in-between hop, which he does nice and clean and gets it on to Roger.
We traveled to Hartford, Connecticut a couple of weeks ago, along with Red Sox manager Joe Morgan and general manager Lou Gorman, to speak to our friends at WVIT, TV 30, our Red Sox network station in Hartford. And on the ride down, Joe Morgan said of all the things that impressed him in the field about Carlos Quintana last year, his throwing ability most stood out. Somebody adjusting to the position, he always seemed to put the ball right in the right spot for the fellow fielder to handle it.
And he threw out 7 runners at the plate, and not all of them on easy plays, we might add. A couple of them grounders like that he had to come up with firing.
Late swing by Roberto Alomar, who's behind in the count 1-2. He's 0 for 3 on 3 ground balls to second.
All the first basemen that I played with or against, I thought George Scott was perhaps the best throwing first baseman. Carlos Quintana is starting to gain a lot more respect for me the more I see him play over there. I don't know if he'll ever be better than George Scott. That'd take a lot of doing to be better than Scotty in that area. But Carlos Quintana oftentimes makes a lot of those plays look so very routine, and they in fact are not. They're not easy plays.
Still a ball and 2 strikes on Roberto Alomar with 1 out in the 8th. Roger Clemens in cruise control at the moment. He has a 6-1 lead. Burks backs up a few steps and takes the line drive for the second out. Now Kelly Gruber. He is 1 for 3 with an infield single back in the first. Tough pitch, breaking ball outside part of the plate for a strike to Gruber. Kelly spent 1 semester at the University of Texas. He was an outstanding 4-sport athlete in high school in Austin, Texas. Was a fine quarterback in football in high school. Went to the University of Texas, but then was Cleveland's first-round selection in the June 1980 draft and decided to sign with the Indians and begin his professional baseball career. Clemens ahead of his fellow Longhorn, 1-2. Jody Reed handles the pop-up. That is the 5th 1-2-3 inning for Roger Clemens. After 8, the Red Sox 6 and the Blue Jays 1.
you cool is your attitude, your inner self. It's not the way your hair is cut. It's not the clothes you wear. Not the clothes you wear. It's not what you drink. Got that right. You got Pepsi for me? Who knew?
He's hard-hitting, hard-loving, hard-drinking, and hard to imagine as the only pilot in the history of aviation who can save airplanes. Starring Peter Graves, Leslie Nielsen, Robert Stack, Barbara Billingsley, and Robert Hayes as the pilot. Take cover with me, Dana Hersey, when Airplane comes to the Movie Loft Monday, April 29th on TV 38.
We hope you'll tune in to TV 38 tomorrow night at 7:30 for Game 4 of the Adams Division semifinals between the Boston Bruins and the Hartford Whalers. The Bruins lead that best-of-7 series 2-1. Originally, we were scheduled to be with you tomorrow night from Toronto with Game 2 of this series. But the Bruins will be on Channel 38 tomorrow night at 7:30, and you can watch the baseball game on Nesson. Again, it's the Bruins and Whalers tomorrow night at 7:30 on TV 38. We are next with you with Red Sox baseball action over most of these stations on Thursday afternoon at 1 o'clock from Fenway, the home opener against the Indians.
Get a chance to look at newly acquired Danny Darwin in that start for the Red Sox.
Mike Timlin getting ready to work in the ninth. The Red Sox with a 6-1 lead. Timlin, the fourth Toronto pitcher of the afternoon, and he is scheduled to face Tony Pena, Tim Nerry, and Wade Boggs. Jim Samia of the Red Sox public relations staff has provided us with some information about grand slams on opening day. The last Red Sox grand slam on opening day was Carlton Fisk, April 6th of 1973 against the Yankees. A game the Red Sox won 15-5. You probably remember that.
Another game I watched.
That was the last Red Sox grand slam on opening day. Prior to that hit today by Jack Clark in the third inning. Tony Pena's sinking line drive caught by Carter. And Tony is 1 for 4. And the last player to hit a grand slam in his first game as a member of the Red Sox, Jake Jones, June 15th of 1947.
He was traded between games of a doubleheader, we're told, and I don't know exactly what other team was involved, or even if the Red Sox were involved. 1947. Oh, Jack Clark.
So you didn't see that one?
Nope. Well, they didn't have TV where I lived then, 1947. We still had the kerosene lamps out.
If Nerry.
When they had the TV screen, they looked like little fish bowls. They were still round.
1-1 on Tim, who was 0 for 2 with a sacrifice. Well hit, but on a hop to Manuel Lee at short. 2 outs in the ninth. In the bottom of the ninth, the Blue Jays are scheduled to have Joe Carter, John Alderwood, and Rance Mulliniks face Roger Clemens. That is the middle third of the Blue Jay batting order. Roger will be trying to pitch the Red Sox first complete game on opening day since 1982, when Dennis Eckersley on April 10th of that year shut out the Orioles in Baltimore 2-0. Boggs looked at ball 1 high. Wade has walked twice, single to center, and grounded out. He has scored after each of his 2 walks. 1 ball and 1 strike.
I remember that game that Eckersley pitched, and I was surprised at his control in that ball game. Something happened in 1982 that there was a space of time between spring training and the season started. I don't know if it was another player-owner confrontation or not, exactly what caused that. But thinking about it, Roger Clemens to this point has not walked a batter, and I don't believe Eckersley walked a batter in that particular ball game.
That's out of play in left field, 1-2.
I remember making a comment that it would be unusual, and I am sorry I don't remember what caused the delay, but it seemed to be a span of time, and I was surprised that Eckersley had such pinpoint control with the long layoff. That was long before I knew Eckersley had the kind of control that he has.
Timlin bounced it in front of Greg Myers. And Myers returned the favor. How about Mackey Sasser of the Mets having all kinds of difficulty now in throwing the ball back to the pitcher?
Why wouldn't he stand up and throw it back to the pitcher? He's not going to get any better by the way he's trying to get it back to him by sitting down and lobbing it back. I don't know how they figure that. It's kind of strange that he doesn't have a problem on would-be base stealers throwing it, so why wouldn't he stand up and throw it back to the pitcher? However, that is not an uncommon problem for catchers. There have been a number of Ray Fosse had that problem. Ray Fosse used to have to beat the glove 2 or 3 times before he could toss it back to the pitcher. And there was a catcher, Mike Ivey, one time with the San Diego Padres, who absolutely couldn't throw it to the pitcher. He had to walk a couple of steps in front of the mound and toss it underhand to get it back to the pitcher. Yeah. I think a lot of that was due to the fact that he didn't want to catch, and he used that as a way to get out from behind the plate. But it's not it's not common, but it's certainly not a rare thing for catchers to have that problem. Has to be strictly a mental thing when you can throw it from home to second on a would-be base stealer. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the man physically.
It's ball 4. Boggs worked Timlin for the 3rd walk Wade has drawn today. That is the 2nd walk issued by Mike Timlin and the 6th yielded by Blue Jay pitching this afternoon. The Red Sox lead 6-1, and they have a base runner with 2 outs in the top of the 9th.
Tell you, with Charlie O'Brien over with that Met club now, as you look down the Toronto Blue Jay bench, some slumped shoulders over there with 5-run deficit here in the 9th inning. Charlie O'Brien might have taken that job away from Sasser anyway. He's a pretty good catcher. Reminds me a little bit of Mike Heath in that he has a lot of action behind the plate. He springs in his leg, and he can get to do an awful lot of catching for the Brewers because B.J. Surhoff was handling it over there. That's the guy you made the comment about the yellow catching gear, remember?
Yes, the fluorescent yellow. The lights went off in the stadium at night.
He was
still able to follow Charlie out of the park. Jody Reed is 0 for 2, but he has walked and scored, and he's also successfully sacrificed. That was last inning. 2-1 the count. Of course, Steve Sachs had the problem of throwing as a second baseman to the first baseman while he was a member of the Dodgers. He overcame that. Gruber, the short way to Alomar to force Boggs and end the inning. We go to the bottom of the 9th on opening day 1991. The Red Sox with a 6-1 lead.
Nothing beats a bud with a friend. Nothing beats what we've got here. Nothing beats clean, crisp, cold. Nothing beats the king of beers. Yeah, nothing beats a bud. Yeah, nothing beats a bud. Nothing beats a Budweiser. Nothing beats a Bud.
Consider this for only $14,494. The 1991 Legacy L Plus station wagon with 4-wheel drive and 5-speed transmission, automatic slightly more, air conditioning, 80-watt ETR stereo cassette, power steering, power windows, and power door locks, dual power mirrors, and driver's side lumbar support. All for $14,494. Yes, you heard it right, $14,494. Car for car, dollar for dollar, America's Best Buy. See your New England Subaru dealer now.
Well, the Red Sox will take Clemens out of this ball game with an inning to go, and on will come Jeff Gray. An excellent job by Clemens on this opening day of the 1991 season. Gray will come on after working 12 games for the Red Sox during spring training. Last year, Jeff 2 and 4 in a Red Sox uniform with 9 saves, and those 9 saves came at a most valuable time for the Red Sox when Jeff Reardon came down with a back problem, necessitated or actually needing surgery to fix that. Jeff Gray stepped right in
to pick up that closing role.
Working 41 games for the Red Sox, won 2, lost 4, to go along with those 9 saves. 50 strikeouts for the right-hander and 50 2/3 innings of work. And did that a combination of ways. He would most often use a split-fingered fastball to set up his fastball to get hitters on call third strikes. This spring in 14 innings, Jeff struck out 7 while walking just 2.
And we saw that he was working on a slider, which seemed to be rather impressive, added to his repertoire of the fastball and split finger pitch. Facing the middle third of the order, Joe Carter, then John Alderwood and Rance Molodix. Carter was 1 for 3 against Clemens with a single to right back in the first. Roger in his first outing of the 91 season, 8 innings. He allowed 1 earned run on 6 hits. He did not walk anybody, and he struck out 6. Carter greets Gray with a long drive to left. Greenwell on the run. It is gone. The first Toronto home run of the season for Joe Carter. That cuts the Red Sox lead to 6-2.
And that is his
19th home run against Red Sox pitching in the major leagues. Carter wearing the old number
of Jesse Barfield, number 29.
Gets to a long distance with this one. High and above the 375 mark. Long gone from here.
Believe it or not, 19 home runs is not his high against an opponent. He has 21 lifetime home runs against the Milwaukee Brewers, and he is also at 19 against the Minnesota Twins. John Alderwood, the batter. He's 0 for 3. Strikeout and 2 groundouts against Clemens. And he's now ahead 2-0. So a rough greeting for Jeff Gray. The first pitch he threw blasted well over the 375 mark in left field. Seven hits now for Toronto. They are out hitting the Red Sox 7-5. Three and 0. Joe Morgan, a bit more anxious than he was moments ago, with pitching coach Bill Fisher alongside. We do not have the exact pitch count. We'll try to get that for you. Didn't seem, in watching Roger work, that he had thrown a lot of pitches.
Had that 1-5 pitch inning, which certainly would have helped his total.
He did have 6 strikeouts,
but that's not very many strikeouts for Roger, really. He's usually around that 8 to 10 range, 11. And I have him down for only 1-3-2 count.
Alderwood walks on 5 pitches. First walk thrown by Boston pitching today. Here's Rance Molodix, 2 for 3 against Clemens. And Bill Fisher heads to the mound. Again, we cannot see into the Red Sox bullpen, but I would imagine, given the situation, that there is activity out there. And indeed there is, as Jeff Reardon has started throwing. Mollenix had 2 singles in 3 trips against Roger, and he scored the first Blue Jay run. It was the first run of the game back in the second. Blue Jays led briefly 1-0 with that run in the second. The Red Sox answered with 5 in the third and have not trailed since. Quintana is playing behind Alderwood. Mollenix takes a strike. Let's pause for station identification along the TV 38 Red Sox network.
This is TV 38, WSBK TV, Boston.
Sean McDonough and Montgomery on opening day, 1991 at the Sky Dome in Toronto, where the Red Sox lead 6-2 in the ninth. And you held it there for an extra look from home plate umpire John Higgins. It is a ball and a count of 1-1. Mollenix to be followed by Greg Myers. We understand that we have lost the video portion of our feed back to Boston. We'll do best we can to describe all the action for you. Mollenix lifts a fly ball to left field. Greenwell drifting back and has room, and he makes the catch about 10 feet in front of the warning track. Alderwood returns to first with 1 out. That'll bring up Greg Myers. The Toronto catcher is 0 for 3 this afternoon. He flied to left in the second and went down swinging in the 4th and 7th innings against Clemens. They've resumed that game in Cincinnati after a rain delay. The Reds lead Houston 9-2 now in the 9th inning, and the Mets lead Philadelphia 2-1 in the bottom of the 7th at Shea Stadium. Myers, a bounding ball, just foul along the first base line. One strike on Myers. Manuel Lee is on deck. Final score in the American League, the Tigers defeated the Yankees 6-4 at Tiger Stadium. Kansas City leads Cleveland 4-2 in the bottom of the 8th at Royal Stadium. One strike pitch gets away from Pena, an off-speed pitch. Here to be right off Tony's mitt, and Alderwood moves down to second. Pitch over the outside part of the plate. Looked like it hit Tony right in the mitt.
He hit fool. Maybe it wasn't a change-up call, and he got one anyway from Gray. Tony had 6 pass balls last year, and the way I saw this one in the first place, this should be a pass ball. He just got crossed up. Couldn't get the glove turned in the proper position. Should be scored as a pass ball. And that's the way they rule it.
So runner at second now with 1 out. 1 run in here in the 9th on the home run by Carter. The Red Sox lead 6-2. And Gray missed outside with ball 2 to Greg Myers. 2 balls and a strike. The outfield swung around right for the left-handed batting Myers. The infield deep all the way around. Jody Reed, the second baseman, is about 10 feet out in right field. Well, we understand that the video portion of our feed has been restored. We welcome you back to the Sky Dome, where the count is 3-1 on Myers. Alderwood, the runner at second. Burks with room. 2 outs now in the 9th inning.
Morgan an out away from his 218th career victory.
In the Red Sox uniform as manager. I would have to think this one most pleasing. Question mark still up late in the spring as to whether Roger would be able to pitch this ball game today.
Manuel Lee, the hitter, he's 2 for 3. That was against Clemens. Takes the strike, and you have to think that it's just a matter of time before Roger's going to have to serve that full 5-game suspension and pay the fine. It's very unlikely that Fay Vincent, the commissioner, would undo what Bobby Brown, the American League president, has done twice.
It's not likely. The only thing that will happen now, more than likely, the 5-game suspension will cost Roger just 1 start in reality, where if it had started today, Clemens would not have been able to pitch until Sunday's game in Boston,
which really would have had him miss 2 turns. He would have missed today.
And he also would have missed Saturday's start, which will be his next scheduled start. So by postponing it, looks like he's going to wind up with an excellent opening day victory today. And then wherever it falls in line should only cost him 1 start rather than an actual 2.
We were curious about the pitch count for Roger and the possibility of fatigue. He threw 103 pitches through his 8 innings, which is low
by his standards.
Oh, yes. 30 of them balls and 73 strikes. Roger was indeed sharp on opening day and in line to get the win if Jeff Gray can elicit the final out from the Toronto Blue Jays. Manuel Lee up there with a count of 1-2.
One reason he makes all that money. It's just successful pitchers are consistently working ahead in the count, and Clemens is premier at that.
Fastball backs Lee away from the plate. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Jeff Gray turns 28 on Wednesday. He's from Alexandria, Virginia. Now makes his home in Riverview, Florida. Foul ball in left field. About half of the 50,000 that were here at the beginning are still here. For a ballpark that is right downtown, particularly a stadium of this size, it is easy to get in and out of here. Many folks come on the train that runs right below us.
As a matter of fact, yeah, right below us, literally. I mean, there's a big station right up under here, if I'm not mistaken. Subway and train, I believe, meet here. Always seems to be some kind of a traffic, rather heavy congestion around this area, though, when a game is over. We've got plenty of time, though, to get to a flight.
Indeed, we do. That should end it. Reed throws out Manny Lee. And the Red Sox are 1-0 and in first place in the American League East. Joe Morgan and the Red Sox win on opening day for the 2nd consecutive year, behind the brilliant pitching of Roger Clemens and the grand slam from Jack Clark. The final score here at the Sky Dome, the Red Sox 6 and the Blue Jays 2. We'll have more from Toronto in a moment.